Your new Wednesday addiction. Humpin' It with Mello, D83, and the Maestro.
Hello and welcome, everyone. The week is almost over. You're halfway there. It's Wednesday, hump day, and you're now humping it with Mello, D83, and the Maestro. Please get your mind out of the gutter.
It doesn't matter if you're brainy like Steve Urkel or debonair like Stefan.
Like me.
This is the podcast for you. Good evening, podcast fam. Thank you for joining us tonight. Fellow co-hosts, what is going on? How was your weekend?
My weekend was great. Chilling with my kiddos.
Awesome. Weekend was awesome. Hung out with the kids. Plus, went to go see Heart. That was awesome.
Ooh.
Great rock and roll band. Cheap Trick opened up for them. It's upsetting that the fans couldn't see you guys prior to coming on because Mello accidentally hit her microphone. I'm still inside dying laughing because if looks could kill, Maestro killed you about 20 times.
It's a good thing that the volume wasn't on during that moment.
My bad.
Daisy face rookie. How's it play?
You know, I'm still learning. Well, tonight's discussion, relationships. When is it time to leave? Let's get into it.
15 years ago. Before it started. The next day. I do turns into I don't. I'm sorry.
Hey, listen. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Why you just? That's actually real. That's real. Like, that's real sometimes. Because, sometimes we ignore the
red flags.
Yeah, the warnings and so we just kind of go into things. But not saying that was you did. Is what I'm saying in general. People,
right, no.
People, that's how we get caught up.
It wasn't. Yeah, no, it wasn't all bad times. It was a lot of good times.
Yeah, for sure. But that's.
I would say.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
You go.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Anyways.
I was just gonna add that hindsight is usually 20/20. So when you're in the situation, you're so enamored from love that, of course, you're not going to see a lot of things you should be seeing. But once you step out of that and have time to reflect, then all of the things you should have been seeing pop up at you, and it's like, why didn't I see them?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I think oftentimes though, it's just keeping it a G, and listen, this is including myself. I'm wholly included in this. Oftentimes, the enamoredness, if that's a word, it's not like we don't see the red flags. Oftentimes, now we won't see all of them, right? But I think a lot of times, our thought process is because, especially if we're in love with that person, hey, you know what? It's going to be all right. I'll love them through it, and
it'll get better.
Yeah, exactly. And the reality is rarely does it ever do that, and that's an unfortunate lesson that we have to learn is that, love does not solve the situation. A lot of times it enables us to stay in a situation that we should have left a long time ago, and again, I speak from experience,
Oh, yeah.
We've all, I think at some point in time in our lives, we've all been there, but it's just one of those things. I think, one of the most important things, obviously communication, but for self is making sure that you know your boundaries, right? You know what you can handle, what you can't, and you make sure you stand on your square. You feel me? You don't compromise, for the sake of the situation, because inevitably it's going to turn sour on you. You know what I'm saying? More times than not. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
It's probably 1.5 cents.
Right.
Probably a half cent, really, but I'm just saying.
I wouldn't even say
Yeah.
that, but anyway. Well, let me ask you two this, because I know that there have been times when I've been in a situation and it's like, I kind of know it's time to go, but I don't yet want to for whatever reason or another, or I feel like there's still something maybe to hold on to. Like, have you ever had a period where you were in that situation, you're like, I think maybe it's time to go? And if so, what was it that kept you holding on? Like, was it, the fact that you thought maybe it could work itself out, or give it a little more time, or maybe the fact you just didn't want to be by yourself?
I think love. If you love someone, like truly love someone, you'll deal with some stuff that you normally wouldn't deal with, right?
Absolutely.
But if someone shows you who they are, you better believe them. Right?
The first time.
You are who you are.
Right.
You are who you are.
That's facts.
And also a lot of times, not just speaking for myself, but a lot of people in general tend to stay if you have kids.
That's true.
You don't want to be away from your kids.
Yeah.
A good parent does not want to be away from their kids.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's crushing. It's crushing.
Yeah.
But love. I mean, you love someone. You truly, like I said, you truly love someone.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna remain by their side.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because it's you put them first before you put yourself.
Mm.
So you're like, I really love this person. I want to be there for them. Regardless of whatever. I love them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily about being alone. Because the way I look at being alone, if you can't stand your own company, you got some serious issues in life.
But and while and that's true, but I think there are people out there that do not know how to be alone, and they don't want to be alone. They can't, so they're in relationships. So typically, if you see somebody that's jumps out of a relationship, jumps right back into one, and it's a cycle, that's one of them people. You know what I'm saying? They have not learned how to be with themselves. Right, so there's a lot going on there, a lot that needs to get unpacked and healed and all of that stuff. But it happens, man. It really does. I've seen it with my own eyeball cubes.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm
same
saying?
here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen it, and those people have been through their second and then their third marriage, and I'm like, I don't want to be that. I'm not gonna be that one.
Right. But going back to your question, Mello, I think oftentimes, and I agree with you, D83, it is love, but it's also a hope. It's that last kindling of hope, right? That this situation can change. This person will change. I just have to hold on a little bit more, right?
Right.
I think a lot of times that's how we get trapped in that situation, right? And again, like the 83 said, listen. When someone shows you who they are, believe them, right?
Yes.
But, the oftentimes, again, I think how we get into those situations, in those relationships, comes down to us not really understanding and knowing ourselves, right?
Well,
go ahead. What you got, D3?
I was going to piggyback off of something you said earlier, communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's also that because a lot of people don't talk through their
true.
issues with the other person. They just let it out aggressively sometimes or in anger and don't just sit down and, talk it out in a more proper manner.
And it's funny you say that because communication, like, it's kind of like it's a buzzword, right? In a sense, right? And I say this, but hear me out. So it's like if you go on social media and things like that, you know what I'm saying? It's a popular thing. They say, oh, you got to have communication. Communication is everything, right? How many people actually know how to effectively communicate in a relationship?
So true.
And that's the thing I think that gets a lot of people. It's not just about talking, right? Because you can talk to each other all day and not hear a thing. But it's about empathy. It's about, truly active listening, right? It's about being able to respect the other person, how they feel, and understand, hey, this person's coming at me, emotionally. I need to set that aside. Okay, let me process what they're actually saying. You feel me? I think a lot of people miss that. They don't, or they have never learned that. So their level of communication, while they're communicating, they're trying to talk it out, right? Or they're either talking over each other or whatever, right? It's not true communication, right? So I think that's where people fall off quite easily, right? Is learning what true communication is.
Yeah, and like you said, listening.
Yeah.
Listening to your partner. I go back to this podcast that I used to listen to about business. They always talk about business, and they were talking about how to be a good listener. And that can just be in reference to anything, relationship too, where it says you can either be, when you're listening to someone, are you listening to them to understand what they're saying or listening to them to respond? You want to listen to understand what they're saying and not just listen to respond.
Right. Right. And that's true. That's true. That's dope. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's absolutely true.
I learned something like that when I worked for McKesson. They used to have this, I can't remember what it was called, kind of like a workshop, but you never really went to it. They would send you like emails and stuff. It was called Crucial Conversations. And in that's a lot of what it talked about, how to have these crucial conversations, this line of communication, not just professionally, but in your personal life too. And that was one of the big things.
Yeah.
Listening to actually hear and not respond, which I think we sometimes get caught up in doing. We want to hear what the person has to say to give an answer to maybe remedy it.
Rebuttal, right. Or just a rebuttal, you know what I'm saying? And to counter what they're saying, yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes people just want to be heard. They want to just get something off their chest. They want to, just get it out their system and just, have someone to maybe, if not empathize, just sympathize with them a little bit. So,
yeah. And speaking of listening and not listening, obviously that's another key of when it's time to leave. If you feel like you're not getting heard.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You start to feel like that person just absolutely doesn't respect you,
Yes.
Right.
Damn, they don't even, I don't have to question whether or not they love me. They just don't even respect me.
Exactly. Right. That's true. That's absolutely true though, man. Absolutely true. When you start to feel like, and it's, truly is, there were probably signs before, but when you the realization comes that, why am I here? You know what I'm saying? That feeling of, what I say doesn't even matter anymore. Or you get to that point to where, you know what, I don't even care no more. I give up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely been time to go, because you don't get there overnight, right? That's a process. That's, what I'm saying? That happens over time. So, and that's just a flat out breakdown in communication. So, yeah.
This wise man, who's got a lot of gray hair now, especially in the beard area, once said to me, if you start to lose yourself, that's when you don't want to lose the person that you are.
Hey, who said that? He's a smart
said,
dude.
Man. Right.
He's a smart dude.
He's a real smart dude.
Yeah, I need to subscribe to him. Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
I hope I ain't said it because I don't remember that. Well, I can't.
Well, that's what happens with age. You're close to 60. So.
The level of disrespect. Oh. That's all right, bro. Grow that beard out again.
Nope, I will not. Look, I will not. Definitely not. Because after the day I was at the gym and this young guy that I'm always in there talking to, he works there. And we're talking. He's like, man, I can't wait, man. Go home. I'm so tired. I said, yeah. I hear you on that. I said, man, I didn't get home till 2:30 the other day. I'm too old for that. And he goes, how old are you? I said, man, 41. He said, man, I thought you were closer to my age. I said, there's a reason why I liked you.
That's funny.
Man, he was trying to make you feel
I was
good.
like, man, you were here. You were here. But he did the job. I said, you were here on my list. You went right here now.
Exactly.
Right there.
Oh, man, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm never growing the beard back out. Absolutely not.
Dang, go on, man. I need a partner, man. Come on.
I can't get a beard like that. That's a grown man's beard. What I got, it's like a 14-year-old beard.
No, sir.
With
man.
gray. With gray in it.
Listen, I thought it was dope. Man. Go and grow that joint out, man. We rocking together.
Yeah.
And look like I was on dope.
God, dog.
You got that, man? You got that, man?
He had the Tyrone Biggums. Golly. But yeah.
But back to communication and, like listening, hearing each other. Going back to the beginning, like what you said, Maestro. You also have to, I think, one of these things in kind of interviewing for the whole thing is knowing what people are looking for as far as what you said are hard limits, because everybody has different limits. And if you don't, I believe, come to some sort of consensus in the beginning, then those can get trampled on later on.
That's facts, man. Yeah, because that goes into the whole, that's vetting, right? That's what I would call vetting. It's great to be, that feeling of, of being in love is amazing. That euphoria, right? There's an actual term for that. I can't remember what it's called, but
being insane.
Something like that, yeah.
Sorry, what?
But the initial, I think we may have touched on it last podcast, but that initial feeling, I like to refer to it as infatuation, right? Everything. A wise lady once told me, infatuation puffs up, love builds up, right? And so I've always, kind of taken that to heart. So, that initial, burst of feeling, and it tends to not blind us, but it tends to just, I don't know, makes us stupid sometimes. I don't know how, and I say that as, as being a victim of that, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like, you really, really have to. And I think as what I've noticed as I've gotten older, right? And, being back in the dating scene and things like that, not currently, I'm off the market. Let's just say that. But I didn't have to deal with that, right? It's really, you get your heart broken enough, you know what I'm saying? You get wiser. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. But as you also, you get wise, you know what I'm saying? You just get wiser naturally by experience, right? And learning what you want in somebody, right? And understanding and knowing, hey, like, I can tell early enough if this isn't going the way I thought it was, or this isn't going to be what I was really looking for. It speaks volumes of who you are in the trials and tribulations that you come through, to be able to say, hey, you know what? Listen, I rock with you, but I don't think this is going to work out in the long run. I appreciate you, you know what I'm saying? But I got to step out,
Right.
And that's real. It's hard to do for a lot of us, but once you get to that point, the battle becomes less of a battle. You feel what I'm saying? For lack of a better term. Like, you just you stand on your square, know what you're looking for, don't compromise. And you can weed out 80% of the people, you know what I'm saying, that would cause you heartache and pain, or that would cause you sometimes, or that, let's say, that would not be the right fit for you. I'll say it better like that. But again, that's something that comes with time, right? And learning yourself and staying true, again, to what you believe in and what you expect and what you want, right? Going back to communication too, understanding how, excuse me, Mel did it. I don't know where that came from. I blame you.
I'm the scapegoat.
Exactly. But understanding how you want to be loved, right, or how you want to be admired in a relationship, right, is another crucial part of communication. Because if you don't understand that, then how is the next person, the person that's supposed to be doing it for you, going to understand that, right? And that
Right.
needs to be communicated early, right? Build this foundation, this healthy foundation. Again, it all starts with communication. Talk about these things early. Hey, this, I like this, I like this, I don't like this, right? If I'm with such and such, I'm saying, we together, this is going to make me feel some type of, I'm saying, vet all that out in the beginning, right? So that way the path is a lot clearer for y'all too, right? And from there on, you just continue to build on that good foundation that you laid. That's how you build an empire, man. I don't know. That made sense, but y'all know what I mean.
Yeah, I think a lot of times.
That was a lot of words. I'm sorry.
No, but I mean, I get what you're saying because one, yes, you do have to know yourself. You have to get to being comfortable enough with yourself to be alone, to take the time to do this vetting. And I think sometimes, especially if we're younger, like kind of like our puppy love years, whatnot, or maybe trauma we may have experienced or feeling the longing or need of something, we can tend to overlook that just for the sake of having a body, somebody, anybody. And
Or
I
the
yeah,
idea of being in love. That's a killer.
this is true too.
That's a killer. That'll get you in the
This is
heartbeat.
true. Yeah, but I think it's just really important to know how to be alone. It can be hard. It can be a little lonely, a little boring sometimes, but
Wrong. Sorry.
you can say that now because yes, but would you have felt that way 10, 20 years ago? We have matured a lot.
Yeah.
And I think, in that time we've learned a lot about ourselves, a lot about what we want, what we don't want, have had experiences with people to kind of know what we're looking for, what we're not looking for. So yeah, definitely and I think that can be, again, like you were saying, really hard for some people who haven't mastered how to do that. But I think it's crucial because I'm sure we have mentioned before, you don't want to bring the trauma, the dysfunction, the baggage from somebody else or another relationship with you just to feel like you're getting over it with somebody else, because that's just like the wrong way to do it.
Rebound.
Yes.
Rebounds.
Thank you.
Listen. Rebound is a temporary satisfaction. That's big facts, right? At the end of the day, once that's over and you're alone again, what happens?
Yes.
Right. That's the problem with rebounds, right? Because then that becomes a cycle now. Now you find into what we were talking about earlier, that's how people get into that rut of going one right after the other, right?
Yeah.
Because they haven't taken that time to heal and process things. It's, I need this fix, right? I'm with somebody. Oh, it's great. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm alone again and I have to start thinking about things. Right. So no, I don't want to do that. Let me get back with I'm going to find somebody else. So that's a detrimental cycle.
I also wonder if people like that, tend to just are concerned about what other people may think of them, right?
I'm sure
view them as being alone, view them as being unwanted.
I wouldn't doubt there's some of that, in some of those situations.
Not everyone, but I'm saying just I'm sure there's a few, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's, some people are only about image, and they have to portray that, you know, they're of a certain status or a certain, you know, I don't know, social bracket, whatever. And you know, that's true. You know, so they'll go out and find whoever. You know what I'm saying? Just to say, oh, I got somebody. You know.
Yeah.
But again, that boils down to self-worth, self-esteem, and you know, what is the root cause? Why do you feel like you have to? You know, that's a lot of self-reflection that needs to happen there, I think. But more to the topic of what our actual, we kind of covered the gamut a little bit. But you know, when is it time to leave? When is it time to leave?
If your arguments start to escalate and you find yourself arguing in front of your children,
that's true.
Definitely do not need to see that.
Yep.
You know,
because again, because kids are sponges. They soak up all that, you know, and whether we think so or not, they apply that, right? And it becomes a blueprint for their future relationships if they don't get a better example. So it's very true.
It sets the example for what they think is normal.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't want. And now it's okay, in my opinion, to be able to argue some as long as they can see that y'all know how to resolve it afterwards, because they do need to see that there is resolution.
Right. Conflicts are going to happen, right?
Absolutely. But if it's just arguing about everything and nothing gets fixed and there's, you know, just vitriol and venom building up, that's very unhealthy.
I think you just said a cuss word, I think. I think you just cussed on
she said a word that I'm going to have to Google. That's what you did.
Oh, I thought
that one went way
I thought she said a cuss word. About to get us banned on the air. I'm just playing.
Vitriol.
I'm just playing. She did it again.
English.
Call me the B word. Stop playing. No. Man, but no, you're right, man. You're right. You know, I think, you know, when you start to feel like home is not home, right?
Yeah.
Or that space is not safe, right? Let's talk about that. And you feel like, you know, more of a prisoner, right, than an equal. Like, it's time to go. Like, it's time to go.
Because then you're like, I'd rather be at work.
Yeah, exactly. But that's real.
Be at work.
Yeah, because you stay out longer. You don't want to come home. You know what I'm saying? But not only that, especially if you have kids, you know what I'm saying, that's less time with that. They notice it, right? So it just becomes this really, ooh, man. Let me tell you something. It's not a fun space. It's not a fun space to be in that. But that's, you know, listen, you start feeling like that. Listen, you really got to weigh your options. Is it worth it? Is my current situation, is this what the future's going to be, right? Is this what I want for myself? And you got to, at that point, you know, you got to let yourself enough to say, no, you know, I deserve better, you know, unless you out there doing, you know, you the one that's doing wrong and causing, you know what I'm saying, the trauma and the, you know, then you reap what you sow, right? But at the end of the day, man, like, you got to love yourself enough, man. And I think that's tough for people. I really do.
Yeah.
I would also add, because this situation tends to happen to women more, it happens to men as well, but definitely if you're in a space where you're being physically or mentally abused, there is absolutely no reason for that. There's no reason to stay. There is nothing you can do to change that person. That is who they are. Yeah. They will give you every excuse in the book. I'm sorry. You made me angry. Then, you know, they try and put the blame on you. There is nothing that you can do to give them an excuse to put their hands on you. That's automatically, you know,
that's
time for you to go.
Blow the whistle, throw the flag, time out, you know what I'm saying? That's everything, you know. But on that note, if you talk about like a narcissist, right? And a form of manipulation, right?
Right.
If you start to feel like, if you're starting to question yourself, your spouse makes you question yourself and what you believe, like you really got to check that, because at this point in time, that sounds like manipulation, right? And a narcissist is really good at that, right?
Absolutely.
They know how to flip the
Gaslighting
script. Yep,
you,
exactly.
putting the blame, like not taking responsibility
Yes.
for their actions
Mm-hmm.
and their faults.
And flipping it on
No,
you when they
yes.
take you out of character, right? When your
Yes.
response, is to clap back, basically. All of a sudden it becomes, oh, look at you, look how you're acting, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? So it really makes you question yourself at that point. Like, it's like you deserve to dip out, man.
Like Mello said, first time was it, because it's just going to continue.
Yeah.
And then
Big facts.
you may find yourself doing something that you normally wouldn't, and could ruin your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Permanently.
And it happens. And it happens often. It happens, because we hear about it. We can turn on the news any given time and you hear about it, unfortunately. So
it never gets better. I don't want to mention who this person is, but it's a family member. I talked to her. It was a great conversation. This was several years ago. Her husband, it's a known fact, everyone knew it in the family, was beating her. Right? He was beating her. Like, not like, just backing around. We're talking punches and stuff like that. And she had said, have you noticed, because she had brick steps at her previous house, had brick steps. And at the last step, we're talking like 10, 12 steps. This is the high up. And the last step, there's a brick missing. And we got to talking about that stuff, and I got to talking about the marriage and stuff, and because her new husband drinks, her previous one drank as well. There's a difference, though. The new husband's a happy drunk. Never in a million years would he even get ugly to her. Previous one was an a-hole, beat her all the time, that type of stuff. And she says, I said, well, do you ever, so I opened the door. I said, do you ever think about that? She says, there's a reason why I left that brick out. She's like, that day was the last day he ever put his hands on me. She goes, he hit me, punched me in the face. I landed on every single step almost. She said, I hit that last step, broke my nose on it, knocked the brick out.
Wow.
And she says, I left that there so that every day I come home, I can remind myself things will never be like that again.
Right. Hey, that's real. God believe, man. Hey, that's real. That's real.
That's right.
Yeah.
And she says, I looked in the mirror. She said, I looked through the window, and her two kids were looking through the window, and they saw that.
Yeah. Oof.
And she said, he's going to kill me. He's going to kill me one
day. Yeah. And unfortunately, because like you said, it doesn't get better. Not without intervention, not without help. Not saying that person can't, but 9 times out of 10 it doesn't, because they're not seeking help. So leave. Absolutely, no question about it. So just dip out, man. So, man, it's a real conversation here. Man.
Yeah, I mean, there is probably a plethora of reasons and examples of when you should leave, but unfortunately our podcast isn't that long. We'd probably be here all night.
That's true.
But I think we've touched on a lot of good and important ones to really think about. And
love yourself.
Yes.
Love yourself. Listen, ain't nothing wrong with putting you first, right?
No.
If it's about your health and your mental well-being, hey, listen, ain't but one of you. Handle yourself
This
first.
is true.
Right.
This is true. So I hope that's helpful to somebody out there. If you're wondering, should I go or should I stay? And sometimes even if you don't know, don't be scared to seek professional help.
Big facts.
Because somebody on the outside can look and see the things that you may be missing.
Absolutely.
But the one thing you want to do is to keep yourself healthy and safe, and if there are children involved, first and foremost, healthy and safe. Unfortunately, we don't always have the sight to see that in the situation. I think that'll do it for us tonight. Who knows? We may touch on this again. I think there's a lot that could go with this. But if you have not, please like and subscribe. Leave us some feedback, some comments, suggestions on our YouTube page. We'd love to hear any ideas that y'all might have. Please share them with us. And until next podcast, have a good evening and peace out.